Hey class, hope you're doing well. Um, I just waved at the camera even though I know you can't see me right now. Anyways, this is gonna be my first video and a couple videos, probably four or five, probably like three or four honestly, that are gonna relate to HTML and CSS. In other words, chapters 20 through 23 in your textbook. I would definitely say that these are gonna be supplemental. They'll try and keep them short, so I would definitely still go through those chapters on My Educator, and you'll be doing good for your project. And reach out to me and Josh for questions, right? So today, just the first thing I want to talk about. I don't know if you guys remember this slide from the first day of class like 6 weeks ago, but we talked about how when you actually go to the internet and you go to a website, then you're actually just sending a request to a different computer or a server, and that's sending back the website, right? So what's really getting sent to your computer are files, and there's some different types of files that are sent to you. There's HTML, there's CSS, and there's JavaScript. And so in this class, we're going to be talking about HTML or .html and .css files, and how those are interpreted by your computer, and how we can write those files so that we can make them right. And so the first step in this for us is going to be downloading a code editor where we can write some of these HTML and CSS files. So the easiest one to use, and this is on My Educator too, is going to be Visual Studio Code. I would definitely use Visual Studio Code. I think it's the easiest and the best. Easy download, right? I would not use Visual Studio. In fact, don't download Visual Studio because that's an entirely different thing. I know it's very confusing. But yeah, I've already done this for Mac. It's really easy. I already have it, so I actually don't really know what it's going to do when I download it, but we'll see. I think you just open it. Open the zip. I mean, it's a very common resource in software, so I'm sure it'll be easy, right? Nice. There it is. Is it like the second Visual Studio Code application I have? Alright, that's neither here nor there. I'll figure that out later. Anyway, now we have Visual Studio Code, right? So you're able to open it up, and this is what's known as an IED. I forget what IED stands for, but basically it means it's a code editor, right? So Visual Studio Code, the way I like to do it with Visual Studio Code for me, the way that makes the most sense, is I'll create a new folder. I'll usually do it on my desktop because that's where I can keep track of stuff. I need to clear my desktop. Anyways, and then I'll give that the name of whatever I'm gonna do, right? So I'll call this in class walkthrough. Cool. And so then the way I'll access that folder is in Visual Studio Code. I'll say File, Open Folder, and I just navigate to wherever that is on my computer. So you trust the authors because the author is me. And now we have, so right here we can see that this is the name of our folder, in class walkthrough. And what we're able to do here is we're able to start creating some different files, right? So the first file I want us to make is going to be called index.html. I don't know why I was pausing to give you guys a second to do that. You guys can just pause the video as you go, you know? But anyways, now if we go back and we look at even our desktop, and we look inside of that folder that we made, that in-class walkthrough, we'll see an index.html right there. So what we edit on this sidebar really does on our computer. And you'll see why we like doing this later. But yeah, now let's start going through some things. First thing, there's going to be two main tags that are going to kind of outline your document, right? The first one's head. So you can see it's kind of nice, it auto-completes for us. It said head there, now it says head here. Now we can also say body. And then so a tag in HTML designates an area on the page, right? And so this one is the head. So the head doesn't actually appear on the HTML page. That's going to contain some other pieces of content that are necessary for like interpreting and reading the HTML, but not necessarily what's going to appear on the page. And your body is what's going to appear on the page. And these are opening and closing tags. So the opening tag just has the two alligators on both sides, and then the closing tag has both, but it has like that little backslash before it to designate it as the closing tag. So you have to nest a lot of tags and things like that, and you'll just learn as you go. Okay, and so we can actually open this. So as you edit your code, you have two options. One, you can click this little Go Live button, which will open up like the index.html page for you. Or if it makes more sense to you, you can just navigate to that index.html page on your desktop, and you can just open it there. Cool. Either way, that's displaying it, you know? But we'll stick with the Go Live for now. But if it's not working, just know you can just go in and click on that page. Okay, so if we put something in the body, it's going to appear on our page. So check it out. We come back, something. We're editing this live. That's awesome. If you were just opening up the page, you weren't live like this is, then you would have to continuously reload it or just click on it again, which isn't the biggest deal, but that's good to know. So let's give our thing a title. So there's a tag called title. Throw that in there. We'll call them "This is my website." Okay, let's check it out. Come back. Oh wait, there's nothing appeared on here. That's because the title has to do with what appears on the tab right there. So now you see how that says "This is my website." Big moves. Very smart. So like I was saying, what's in the head is going to appear not on the page. So don't put anything you want on the page in the head, put it in the body. Okay, now with tags, there's different kinds of tags. So far we've seen the head. We put a title tag inside the head tag, which changes what's on the tab, and the body tag. And right here, this is just text. But we can encase text in a tag to change it. So if I were to put like an H1 here, which H I always think of like heading because it usually makes the text bigger than on the other side. Now check out what we're looking at. Something. But it's big and bold now. So that's something big. You know, we'll even put it there just for fun. Then below it, we can have an H2, which is something a little less big. Save that. Make sure you're saving very constantly. So whenever you edit it, this little circle appears, which implies that there are changes that aren't saved. And so just make sure you're saving constantly. Ooh, nice. Now check it out. They get smaller and smaller. So that's a 1, a 2, and a 4. Here's something interesting too. The tags don't necessarily like the spacing of the tags on here doesn't really relate to like how it's gonna appear. So even if I put these on the same line, this one is still above this one. Because when it sees the H2 or the H4 tag, it knows that that's going to take up the entire length of the screen. So I'm just going to designate a length of the screen for that, if that makes sense. So that's what an H4 tag does. And one fun thing too you can do is just click Inspect Element over here, and you'll see that it's displaying the HTML that you're writing, right? And as you highlight over it, you're able to see the areas that these tags designate. So here you're able to see, oh, there's like, it's this entire little blue highlighted area is represented in this H4 tag. Okay, cool. More things to learn. I have some stuff to show you. Head, body, title, tags. Ooh, okay, we can do an LI now, I guess. Now, so there's two different type of lists. There's an ordered list, and you designate that with OL. And there's an unordered list, and you designate that with a UL. So if we come back here to our website, we won't necessarily see anything like that right now, right? But if we put in an LI, which stands for list item, that's now a tag that's going to designate a list item on there. So if we come back, we can see this 1. And whatever we put inside of here, you can put anything, you put images, you can put text, is going to go to the right of 1. So here I'll just put, this is my first LI. And then it will put another one. An unordered list is going to be the same thing, but it's just going to kind of have dots. So it's the same syntax of the LI right there. See how it's nested inside of here, right? And it's like those loops that we made. So I'm just going to say my first unordered LI. And back, we can see that's just a dot instead. We'll put 2 there. And you can even nest these too if you want to get really big brained, which maybe you'll have to do at some point. But check it out. I'm gonna put another li in my ordered list, and inside of this ordered list, I'm going to put an unordered list, and then I'll have an li inside of there, and here I can say this is my first unordered li that is in an unordered list that is an li for, you know what we can do? We can put this on 2 lines because it's not going to make a difference for the code. A ordered list. That was a mouthful. Now if we come back, check it out. Isn't that crazy? Make one more just to illustrate the point. Okay, so now see how item 3 is going to represent an unordered list, right? These ones are just text, but item 3 is an unordered list here. Okay, moving on. What's next? Where are we? To show. Okay, so next we're going to talk about anchors. So I'm going to put a little new heading here. I'm going to call it this section is about anchors. So let's say you wanted to make, you wanted to show a link to your favorite site. You could say, oh, here's another tag you can learn, P. That stands for like paragraph or something like that. So you're seeing that as like normal text, right? So let's make a P tag. And I'm going to say, this is a link to my favorite site. Cool. Now, if we come back to our page, that appears, but there's no link, right? We haven't made a link yet. So there's something called an anchor tag. An anchor tag looks like this. And whatever's inside that anchor tag is going to become a link. So check this out. We can put anything in here and it'll be that link. But right now it doesn't have a reference to go to. So there's something called href. You put the href between the A and the closing tag of the opening tag of an anchor tag. And then when you say href equals, you can either link it to something like a different file to a website off your website, or you can link it to another file inside of your website. I'm going to link this to byu.edu. So now when we come back, check it out. When we open this link, it takes us nowhere because that doesn't exist. But if we put www.byu.edu, now it will take us to, also not there. I think you need to put the protocol in there. Usually I'll just copy and paste, just to be safe. If this doesn't work again, I'll be really sad. There we go. Now we can see that that opened up the link to byu.edu. And we're learning. But let's say that I didn't want that on anything. I wanted to have it on that word link. I can just take this tag and I'll put it around the word link inside of my P tag. Oh, and see how it auto-generated that closing one? So the auto-generating stuff is cool, but it can be a little confusing at times too. So now if we come back in, there's a link to my favorite site, and it takes you to byu.edu. What a win. And it's right there, specifically. Okay, but you don't want just like a one-page website, right? So this is your index. Now let's say you want to have another page that's about, I don't know. I'm going to name it my second page. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not that creative. I'm very generic sometimes. .html. And that'll appear in our folder. Okay. And then I'm going to make a, here's another nifty thing. If you type HTML into a page on Visual Studio Code, you should see this HTML5. If you click that, whoa, look at that. It already made your general format for your website. And then I never know what these are, so I just delete them. You don't have to. And then, I almost forgot about two really important tags. This doctype.html tag, that was unclutch of me. But there's one tag that encompasses everything called HTML. So everything inside goes in the HTML tag, including the head and the body. So everything, and then there's this doctype HTML, tells the computer what it's looking at, right? It's going to find an HTML document type. So that's why I usually do the HTML5. It remembers that when I don't, but that's just the thing you can know. HTML encompasses everything, and doctype goes to the top. Cool. But here's your second page. I'll name this second page. And let's say we want to get there, right? So maybe we make another anchor tag. We say link to second page. So now we have that link here, but it's not going anywhere yet. So what you can do is for your href, instead of giving a website like we did there, and like I said, I would just copy and paste like the URL. Like I would go to byu.edu and copy it, because that will not lead you astray when you copy and paste it. Nice. Okay. This is your link to your second page, right? So when you type in here, you can put the name or the path to the page you want to reach. So we said we want to link right here to my second page.html. So we're doing that, and it's cool. So if we come in now, come back to our website, which is right here. We click this link to our second page, and it takes us to our second page, but there's nothing on there. So let's put something on there just so we know we're looking at the right thing. We'll say this is, we'll put a H1, and we'll say my second page. Back. Woo. We got it. Good job, guys. It gets a little interesting though, because let's say hypothetically we wanted to put that page in a different folder on our website, because that's how we want to organize ourselves sometimes. So let's say hypothetically, maybe you have to do this in your project, you make a folder called your HTML folder. And actually, before we do that, let's put a link from our second page back to our first page. So I'm going to make a new anchor tag and say, go back to home. And for its href, so that equals index.html. So right now, what the href really does is build a path to a file that the computer wants to display, right? So right here in this first one, we said, go look in the same folder that I'm in, and I want you to find my second page.html. So go here. And this one says go to index.html. So that's when we go to these, they work, right? And we go back home, boom, 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 right? But what if we put my second page.html in the HTML folder? Move it there. Now we can see that it's in this folder, right? And we can also see that here if we just look index, and then we have the HTML, and there's my second page. So we come back to this, and we try and click on this link again, and we get this cannot get my second page.html. Because like I said, when you say an href, it's only looking in the immediate folder in which it is to find the name of that thing that it's searching for, right? So what you have to do is you have to build the path. So you have to say, oh, okay, there's nothing called, if we look at index.html, there's nothing called my second page.html in here, so it doesn't know what to find. So it's tell it the folder to go into. So the folder is right next to it called HTML. So I can say HTML/, and it even autofills it for you. So now when we go back, we can click on this link to my second page. It takes me right there. Wow, I spelled second S-E-C-O-N-D. Anyways, it's a U, right? How to spell second? Wait, is that the right way? Maybe that is how it is. Either way, we're going. Oh yeah, we're talking about folder structure right now, so we're chilling. Okay, so I have this aref, so this anchor tag with an href. So if we come back to our website, sorry for that tangent. I was just like, how do I actually spell? There's no way to now. Where is it? Okay, second page. Well, now watch what happens. When we click go back home, it doesn't work. Because even if you look in the URL here, it's trying to go and find index.html in the HTML folder. Because the my second page.html is in the HTML folder. So it's looking inside of the HTML folder for another file called index, but it doesn't have that. So here's something really, really, kids always get confused over this, but if you just internalize it, it'll be great for you. You can do something called a // So if you say dot, I'll even show you, watch it build out the path as it goes. So we're on the second page, right, inside the HTML folder. When you say, right now when I start typing, there's nothing for it to look for. But if I say // it knows it's going to back out of the folder it's in and look on the same level as the folder it's in for another page, right? So when I type that // I can see that autofills for index.html. Now, when I come here and I click go back home, it takes me back there. So now I have working navigation between two pages. One that goes to my HTML / my second page.html, and then one that goes back to my index.html. And it's using that relative href in our anchor tag, right? So here we have my second page, and here we have this first page. And in the first page, this href says, go to the HTML folder, and in the HTML folder, find my second page, because index is on the same level as HTML. But the link is different on my second page because you have to say // which means, okay, go outside of the folder that I'm in and look on that next level outside for index.html. Cool. Hope that is making a little bit of sense. That's just building a path, right? What else do I want to talk about in this video? Tags, nesting. Oh, there's something called a break tag. That just puts a space between two things. It's a little bit useful sometimes. Like if we go to our second page, we can see there's a certain amount of space there. But if we put a BR, and this is one of the tags that does not need a closing tag. It just needs that and it's done. It puts a line break, so it puts more space between those. So that's what a BR is. It is a line break. It is a good tag to use. Good. Kind of a lot so far, but hopefully you're following along and pausing as you go and typing as you go, and it's all making tons of sense. Okay, I think the last thing for this video I want to talk about is images. Oh, and commenting code and folder structure. Okay, we've kind of gotten to that a little bit. So the way you make a comment, so you guys remember from SQL and VBA, you just say an apostrophe or a hashtag. Well, the equivalent to that in code or in HTML is going to be opening alligator, ! dash dash, and then dash dash at the end too. So that makes a comment. So good practice, and you'll do this on your project, is just put your name and the last time you edited the page, right? June 4th, 2022. So it's green, so you know it's a comment. It's not going to do anything, but it's just for the coders who are looking at it, right? Okay, but yeah. So our website's really ugly. We'll make it pretty in the next thing that we do. But right now I also want to talk with you guys about on-page anchors. Or I mean, not on-page anchors. I want to talk with you guys about images and then on-page anchors. So the way you make an image is you say img. So this is also a tag where you don't need a closing tag, right? You can just say img. Obviously there's not going to be an image there right now because it's not linked to anything. So the way you reference the link for an image is you say something called, you say src. So it's easy to get href confused with src, like source, but just know anchor tags are going to use href and image tags are going to use src, okay? So I'm going to set that up and I'm going to say it equals. You saw it right there, like we can already like trying to autocomplete a path to the files that are inside our actual server or computer, right? But we can also use something from outside of it. So what's a cool image? Goat Yoga. That's what we talk about, right? So if I go to Goat Yoga, say I want this nice picture of people doing Goat Yoga. If I, usually what I'll do is I'll copy the image address. That's going to be your best bet. Because that's going to be the one that really, like, is the link to the image itself and not to the website, right? So if I say, I can even say open image in new tab, and it'll open up just that. So cool. There we go. It's a .jpg. So now if I say my source is that, check it out. I come back to my website. Nice. I have my image of people doing goat yoga. And it is really ugly. And for some reason it's aligned to the left of this link to my second page. If I didn't want that hypothetically, I could just put one of those BR, those break tags right there. And look at that. Puts it right below. So there's my image of goat yoga. There's better ways to do this, but there are some image attributes that you can edit. You can say width equals. We'll talk more about the better ways to do this later. Okay, and like I said, that source tag just goes right between the IMG and the closing alligator, right? I call these less than and greater than signs alligators. Yeah. So as you go this, it's cool if you're doing the same thing, but maybe just make it a little different. Could also be good. I don't know. But I can say width equals, and then let's say we want to make it 400 px or 400 pixels. Now when we save it, shrunk our image, and it auto adjusted the height. Let's put a little caption above this guy. I'm just gonna say, make it a little H5, even smaller, and I'll say this is a image taken from the internet. Now check this out though. Let's say we wanted to put an image in our folder, that in-class walkthrough, and then display that image, right? So let's see what I have. I think I have some photos I can display. Personal documents. I think I like one called photos specifically. You know what? We'll do this picture of my brother's cat. His name is D. They thought he was a girl, so his name was Diane. But then they found out he was a boy, and they just started calling him D. So let's move that. I'm going to move this image into my in-class walkthrough. You can see it appear right there. You know what? I'm going to rename it too, just so it's easier to navigate to. I'm going to say photo of D. Okay, there's my brother's cat. So then I'll say, this is an image in our folder. So then right here, I'll just say IMG source equals. So now, remember how we built that path exactly, and see how it autofills for us, which is so nice. But now if I say image source equals photo of D, we can see the image of my cat. You can also just download an image from the internet, do whatever, you know what I mean? And you'll have to have a couple of pictures on your website. Okay, that's mostly what I want to talk about. Okay, see this highlighted red right here? Anybody spot why? Pause the video. It's because I forgot this closing tag right here. So just be really careful with your opening and closing tags, because that'll give you errors and it'll look weird. And you're like, why is this so weird? And it's because you're opening and closing tags, you know? We've built out a pretty good amount so far. We're feeling positive about it. Okay, so another thing I'm going to show you is on-page anchors, or other words, like it's an anchor to something that's already on your page. So let's say at our very top, we come to this page. We don't want to have to scroll all the way down to look at the picture of D every time, right? We'll just say, we'll make an anchor tag, and in the anchor tag, we'll just say something funny like, I don't know, if you want to see my cat, click here. And honestly, I'm not even a big fan of making the entire thing an anchor tag. It's kind of ugly. So I'm just going to make the here an anchor tag. Oh, wait. There we go. And I'll put it all inside of a P tag. Nice. And so then, this is where it gets pretty crazy, so everyone pay attention. I'm going to say href equals, but instead of linking to something inside of another file inside of my website, or instead of linking to something off our site, so like, you know, right here is something inside of our website, right here is another website that's not necessarily linked to our website, I can say equals, and I'm going to say hashtag my cat. And then what it's going to do is it's going to look for a tag in our HTML that has an ID named my cat, and if it can find it, then it's going to navigate there. So if I come down to my image of my cat, I can just say ID equals, and I'll say my cat. So now watch what happens. If you want to see my cat, click here. It takes me down to the image of my cat. It's an on-page anchor. I think you need 3 of them on your project. Cool. Sky's the limit now, guys. You're learning all sorts of. Nah, I'm just kidding. The website's still really ugly, but the next video about CSS will make it make more sense. One more thing I'll show you, just like to reiterate that whole thing of paths. One, you can have something called alt on an image. I think you need it in your project too. That's alternate text for if it can't find that image for any reason. So I'll say this should be my cat. And then let's say hypothetically, we made a folder. We made a folder and we called it images. Oh, actually I accidentally put that in HTML. Make sure that it's in the right spot, Make sure everything's on the same level. Cool. Now let's say we put our photo of D in the images folder. So we come back. Now we can see this, oh, it can't find the photo, but this should be my cat. So there's the alternate text. So maybe one thing you can try and do is just quick test of knowledge. Try and fix the image source so it will display the cat or whatever image you put in your images folder before I do. Okay, I'll do it now. So we just have to go to images / so I'll come back, I'll refresh. There is one thing I want to point out to you though. See how I did a capital I images right here, and right there it's a lowercase I? That will work locally on your computer, but when you try and upload that to the internet, it will not work, and you'll get really frustrated because you're like, oh, it was all working on my computer, but when I uploaded it and made it go live so people could really visit it, it wasn't working. So you need to be really careful about the spelling errors because sometimes they won't get caught on your own local computer, but they won't work when you go live and when your website's really on the internet. Awesome. This is tags. So if you follow this video and the next video, that'll be enough for the web dev walkthrough. Then I'll make a couple more videos just helping you guys go live and get your website on there, and also using Bootstrap. So, okay, cool. Catch you guys in the next one.